Today we have legendary comedian. I'm a huge fan. He's the host of Sirius XM's What a Joke. Tom Papa in studio.
Dad, can you help me with my math homework? No, I'm not giving you the answers. Then I'm in the bathroom on YouTube. How do you add fractions with different bottoms?
We are covering Super Bowl 25. The Buffalo Bills versus the legendary New York Giants.
Yeah, this was a stacked team.
You ever perform in Buffalo?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the city?
I didn't go back. This game, watching in my tiny apartment on this tiny TV, it's just so memorable.
And it reminded me of every Super Bowl I was in.
Touchdown, Buffalo!
It seemed like this was going to be Buffalo's night.
It gets down all the way to this last kick.
No one was in their seat. We were just lying on the ground, holding each other, not looking, just so insane. We're going to lose. Like, there's no part of you that thinks he's going to miss it.
No good! Wide right!
Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. Welcome to Games with Names, presented by WinBet. On today's episode, we are talking Super Bowl 25. That is right, folks, and I'm not saying that is right. That is wide right. The wide right game with the Giants versus the Buffalo Bills, and we speak with old Tom Papa. It was good to get his perspective. Lifelong Giants fan, has some awesome stories. We get into his New York sports fandom. We get into his old green room stories with Jerry Seinfeld, the guy who may have put him under his arm.
I think so. He said he rode those coattails to the top.
He said he rode him to the top.
Can't blame him there.
To the tippity top.
Not a bad set of coattails to ride.
And you can't talk New York Giants without talking Lawrence Taylor.
LT.
Okay, we have some LT stories in there. And then we wrap it up with breaking down the most heartbreaking missed field goals of all time. Top 5 list.
Top five.
Make sure you check out Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, Snapchat, and TikTok at Games with Names. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Comment a game you want us to do. And remember, rate and review. Call us now. You can call us 424-291-2290. 424-291-2290. Leave a message for some game wrecks, maybe some of your old war stories about these iconic games, or maybe just some advice. Jackie and I are always in for advice. I don't know, Kyler, he's always thinks he has the advice.
We're so wise, bro.
Whatever. Just call in, folks. Games with Names is brought to you by WinBet. WinBet brings the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas and Encore Boston Harbor to your phone. Join WinBet today and bet with the official online gaming product from Wynn Resorts. Let's go. January 27th, 1991. Tampa Stadium, Tampa, Florida.
The New York Football Giants are leading the Bills 20-19.
With 8 seconds left, Scott Norwood lines up for the 47-yard kick. This is
Wide
Right.
Bum, bum, bum.
EA Sports. Welcome to Games with Names, presented by WinBet. Today we have Tom Papa in studio, legendary comedian. I'm a huge fan. His latest book, We're All in It Together, So Make Room, is out now. He's the host of Sirius XM's What a Joke. And catch him on a tour in a city near you. Tom, thanks for coming to the studio.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
No, and I got to introduce you to Jack and Kyler. They're part of our show.
Tom, what's up?
Hey, kids. Nice to see you.
They're the ones that keep this thing going. You know, what are you up to these days?
I'm just coming home after the tour. It was, I went really, really hard from all year, but particularly like September through right now, just slamming everywhere.
How many shows?
Oh, man. You know, I never added up.
Yeah.
Because That's my kind of my philosophy in life. Don't do the math.
Yeah.
Don't add up how many more days you're going to see your parents. Don't add up how many times you're on the road. On my website, I have a map, and it puts all the little dots of where I'm going. I don't even like seeing that.
Yeah.
I just like to knock them off as they come. But from September till now, every weekend, and then a bunch of dates in between during the weeks. Yeah. So it's been great. I mean, playing all these great theaters, and it's been amazing. But it's good to be home.
That life's got to be tough. I mean, I became real close with Sam Morrell, and we did our first season together of Games with Names.
Yeah.
And scheduling for with a comedian who's full time, and that's part of your guys' job. That's your reps. That's how you guys prepare for when you're getting your big shit. And I've kind of learned that through Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, he would go every night to the cellar.
I know.
And then he would go do the tour thing.
Yeah.
And that's a tough way of living, man. You guys really got to love it, or you got to be fucked up in the head. One of the two. One of the two.
Yeah, you got to treat it. You got to treat it with respect, because it actually, when I was kind of really starting to go on tour, I was having that conversation with my uncle.
Yeah.
And he said a thing which I always kept, which is you have to treat this like an athlete.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to do all the things, get your sleep, get your exercise, eat right. You can't just go out there. Then there are guys that do it. They just drink after shows and do whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, that'll kill you. So I really just kind of took it really seriously. And it's, in some, the travel's hard, but what a blessing. Like, you're in this room with people and everyone's just laughing every single night. It's pretty fortunate.
I mean, it's a way of catching your high. You know, like a comedian loves to get that laugh. An athlete loves the high of competing. And why we're here to talk about one of the most legendary competitions in the National Football League that springboarded so many stories and coaches and like livelihoods of the game. And it's the matchup of Super Bowl 25 between the Buffalo Bills. And what number was this on theirs? Is this number 4?
This was the one.
Oh, this is the
This
first one?
kicked off the losing
This
streak.
kicked off. The Buffalo Bills versus the legendary New York Jets, LT New York Jets.
Wide right.
Bill Parcells New York
Giants.
Jets.
Oh, boy.
Giants.
New York
Jesus.
Giants.
What are we doing? Giants.
That's like Bizarro World NFL.
It technically was true with Parcells. He was a New York Jet.
yeah, he did
And
go.
Bill, yep.
Bavaro didn't go.
No, but we are doing the wide right game. Why'd you pick this game, Tom? Why are we going this route?
I am a Giants fan, which is very tough to say right now in this current year. I was
Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, it is pretty great. It is so great. It actually is kind of interesting, like when we'll get into it, I'm sure. But Hofstetler, who filled in for Phil Simms and takes them to this victory, he's kind of a DeVito kind of a guy.
Yeah.
He's like, got knocked around. He's just a sub, and then he just finds himself in this crazy, fortunate position.
Literally.
So
And
I love the
figuratively, a
Giants.
sub.
And I was out of school. I grew up in New Jersey. I went to school in New Jersey, and this is even before I was a comedian. I think this is in like 91 or 92, and I graduated in 90. So I'm living in an apartment with my girlfriend, and I'm a Giants fan, and we went to school in like Central Jersey, where it was all Eagle fans and Giant fans. So we were all like scrapping and all just like, it was such prime time for watching football, And this game, watching in my tiny apartment on this tiny TV with my buddies, a couple season ticket holders, it's just so memorable. It's so insane. Because as a Giant fan, every team that we've had, even the ones that win the Super Bowl, they're always, they have talented guys and whatever, but they're always something a little off. They're always a little ragtag. They're like, are they going to make it? It almost feels like we shouldn't be getting as far as we are each time.
I mean, the Tomlin Super Bowls, he was on the hot seat before both the seasons.
Yeah.
Literally, both times. Like, it was like a dumpster fire, and then they got hot.
Yeah, and then they got hot out of nowhere.
And then they get that toughness. I mean, there's something about the New York Football Giants that, they when they turn it on and they got it going, especially with these Parcells teams.
Yeah.
Like, they had a formula of how to win, and it was displayed in this game, especially
Yeah.
tough defense, control the game.
Mm-hmm. Eat the clock.
Eat the clock. I mean, backup quarterback, use the run game, use the players around us that we know what their strengths are, and not put them in a bind by trying to let's not go 5 wide and throw, and we can't win that way.
Yeah.
And this is a cool game because it was like that tough defense versus that run and shoot style offense that the Bills were running at that time.
Yeah, I mean the Bills were. I mean Kelly was so legit. Thomas, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean,
Monster.
Like they seemed like the army that was going to win it, and the Giants are like maybe something will happen and we'll win it. You know?
And the Giants kind of sneaked into this one, beating my San Francisco,
right?
49ers on that fumble by Roger Craig.
Yeah.
Or we would have three-peat. We're going for three-peat. We were going for
the three-peat, 14-2.
14-2. And I would always bring that up to Belichick.
Oh, really?
Like in the cafeteria line or something.
Yeah.
When I gained some courage to talk to him. Like, Bill, man, Roger Craig don't fumble that ball. We'd have 3 in a row. This is fucking Niners. You guys fast team. All you got to do is hit him. You get all so mad. He's still mad. I'm like, it's 2016, dude. You guys won. You won it. All right?
How long did it take you to be able to do that with him?
7 years and 2 Super Bowls. No, but this is going to be a fun game to jump into.
Yeah.
So
it's remarkable when you look at. Sorry to cut you off, but it's remarkable when you look at the game in this era.
Yeah.
It looks so different.
Oh, it was.
They just, I mean, the body types are different. They're just they look like guys that like truck drivers that happen to play football. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, the information, the resources, and just the technology of, and the money.
Yeah.
Money makes everything
crazier.
And with this huge beast they call the NFL, I mean, it's just a bigger and bigger product, and guys learn from these guys. And then, back, like I always tell people, it was like folklore to hear about what Jerry Rice did as a trainer, how he would train in the offseason. You heard about it. You didn't know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can go anywhere at the tip of your fingertips. You can watch your favorite football player train. You can watch,
right.
And so, like, you get these little gym rats, these little guys. They make themselves little, it's how it naturally goes.
Yeah.
With all sport.
It's just everything's rising.
Everything's rising.
Amazing.
Now, how did you start your fandom with the New York Football Giants? I mean, Jersey guy. You were in mid-Jersey?
I was North Jersey.
North Jersey, so you're near the city.
Near the city, about a half hour outside the city. And in that area, I'm a Yankee fan. My grandfather was grew up in like Hoboken, and like during the Mickey Mantle, like the era. So he got me into the Yankees.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the thing that makes you go this way, but the way it works in the New York metropolitan area is it's Yankees, Giants,
Met, Jets.
Rangers, Mets, Jets.
And
on the other side. Yeah. The Long Island guys, that side of New York, Mets, Jets. And I was Yankees, Giants, and just loved them forever. I went to one Jet game with my father at Shea Stadium, at the old Shea Stadium. Yeah. And we had to drive like from New Jersey through the city to Shea and sit up in the nosebleed and watch the Jets. And they were terrible. And we drove home, and both my father and I were like, we'll never do this again. And my family, like my father and my grandparents and my mother, they all grew up just about 10 miles from Giant Stadium, like Clifton, New Jersey, that whole area. So that was just deep inside all of us. And then, so I'm in high school watching Lawrence Taylor,
LT, and
Phil Simms, and it was just, and LT lived in the town that I went to high school.
Yeah.
So it was just like legendary status. We had no idea.
Did you ever see anything?
No, you just...
Do you hear anything? I
you
mean,
would-
the town talks.
Yeah, like he would just... It wasn't... We weren't getting any of the dark stuff.
Oh, but you
Like,
wanted
that came
to-
out later.
You thought about you. Were you? That didn't come out. That wasn't out there
No,
yet.
that wasn't out there yet. Not for us.
Like if I was like a 12-year-old and LT lived on my block, I'd sit and like see if he was bringing it, what he was doing. over there.
Yeah. Yeah, like people would see him like, just stopping in at stores or stuff like that. But he was so crazy dominant.
Yeah.
It was just knowing that he lived in the same town was like all of us walked around like we were LT.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was really so intense. And then my football coach in high school, he got to work on the staff of the Giants from when like I was a freshman, and he always told this great story. He was a great coach, Filato. He was this really just gregarious Italian guy, and we all just loved him. He was just super cool, and he was working on the staff like during the summer at the Giants, and he came in and he was just all upset with himself, and we're like, Coach, what's the matter? What's going on? He goes, oh, it was terrible. I was because Parcells lived in the same area as LT. I think he lived in our town or like one town over, and they're having the meeting and they're doing all the stuff and working, and my coach, like, just, when you're around someone famous and you kind of freak out and you just blurt something out, he was just like, if you ever need a ride home, I coach up right in your town. And Parcells looked at him and goes, a ride home? And just like looked away. And my coach, your football coach is like, he's like a god, right? So my god is just being destroyed by a bigger god. He was so humiliated. He's like, what did I do?
It's some Greek shit. He's Zeus.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine those New Yorkers and those little borough city people and those Jersey people. They love the Giants, and they cherish anything those people do. And
Everything.
fucking Parcells. What do you think? I need a fucking ride?
Ride home? What do you? My coach was like, oh.
I can see him. I don't really know him, but I can see him doing that just through how I know Bill, and I've seen them interact, so I can see how they, smart ass. Well, how would you describe your football career?
I was a New York Giant when I was in like the league before high school, and we had all the Giant colors, and the Giants gave us uniforms and stuff like that. I'm the same size. I was the same size in 6th grade that I am now.
Oh, so you're a beast.
So I was, for a while, I was a beast.
Yeah.
And so I started out on the line. My father was a really good player. He went to Clifton High School back in the day where, like, the pictures are insane. It's like 5,000 people for a high school game, all in hats. And my father's very tough. And he took them to state championship a couple of times, and he was just like dominant, like strong guy. So he coached me my whole life. Yeah. So from kindergarten through high school.
Tough coach?
He was
tough on you?
He was tough, but he wasn't like the coaches that get like abusive, like grab your face mask.
That was
my
dad.
Yeah. Yeah, he would just be more like, he had this quiet intensity. So if like he just came up and was like, what are you doing? You'd be like, you'd shake.
Yeah.
He didn't have to like really go after you. Your dad did that? Was he a coach for you the whole time?
I coached my whole life.
Yeah.
There's some funny documented stuff out there.
Oh, really?
No, my dad was just very tough on me, and I was like a wild kid, and if you challenged me, I was gonna challenge you back.
Yeah.
And I wanted to prove him wrong, and like he knew how to handle me. I needed to be handled like that.
Right.
So he was tough on me.
Yeah.
And
you had to be broken down a little bit.
he had to break me.
Yeah.
He had to break me, but he never did. I charged him out on him once when we were doing BP before a game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He threw at me because I was dipping my shoulder, and he threw at me. He hit me. Like, I jumped up and hit my ankle. I threw my bat down. I went and charged him. He hit me once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he hit me, and I was on the ground. I'm trying to headbutt him and stuff.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I think I had the opposite. Like, my father wanted me to be more like you. Like, my father wanted me to be more intense, and I was also the class clown.
Yeah.
Like, I was a good athlete, but I was also the class
I
clown.
was too, though.
Oh, you were?
I thought it was.
Yeah.
Was it?
But so It's cool though. I mean, overall, did you think the experience of having your dad coach you all those years was?
I wouldn't be where I'm at without it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was different time, different generation. He had no one to learn from. He didn't really have a dad, so like,
Yeah.
that's what he thought was right.
Making it up.
Yeah, and you know, like, yeah, it was tough, but I had a great life.
Yeah.
You know, my dad's a hard worker, great example, and
It's the best.
yeah,
It's a cool thing, like when everyone's there on the team, but your dad's there.
yeah.
It was pretty.
It was
cool.
the worst.
The worst.
Yeah, they'd be like, your dad is a coach. I was like, yeah, he could go home and hit me if I don't have a good practice.
Yeah, you guys get
you
to
guys
go
can
home.
only run laps.
You guys get to go eat with normal people.
No, you played some sports and you're an
Yeah.
athlete, and like you said, you're a class clown. When did you know you were a stand-up comic? When did you know you were a comedian? When were you going to pursue that?
Like 7th grade.
7th?
Yeah, like 7th grade. I got
You just loved the laugh made you.
I was funny. I was always funny.
Yeah.
And then 7th grade was when I found out that it was a job for adults.
Yeah.
That's like when I learned about Steve Martin and George Carlin. I was like, oh my man, like grown people, this is their job.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I was just like, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I just knew it. I just knew I'm going after that. So everything kind of went that way. But I was an athlete too, so I played like crazy, and I was also really funny. I was just kind of. I remember a guy on the line, Joe Melendez, who we're out there, and I'm running the warm up, and I'm getting in people's face because they're just kind of slacking, and I was the captain, and I'm yelling at everybody I'm yelling at my friend Joe to get his shit together. And he's like, I'm sorry, you got to give me a minute to adjust. You were just making us laugh until I was crying in the locker room, and now you're my boss? You know what I mean? Give me a minute to shift gears here. But
What's his name?
Joe Melendez.
Melendez. It's called fucking leadership, okay? You got to get them when they're high, and you got to cut them down when they're low. You're another way.
That's right. So I always knew, and like I said, I was this size. So I had pretty decent high school. I ran fullback, but I knew that was it. Like I could have. My father wanted me to play Division III, but I was done. I knew it wasn't. I knew I was going to be a comedian. So I went to a school that didn't have football, but had theater.
What school?
Ryder.
Where's that?
In Jersey.
Mid Jersey, you said.
Mid Jersey.
You're with your
with all the Eagle fans. Yeah, and Ryder, I always say is its distinction is that it's down the road from Princeton.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the best school, but it was good to me, and they had a theater department and no football, so I went there to get my degree.
Princeton. It's like the birthplace of football.
Yeah.
Isn't it Princeton Yale?
I think you're right.
First football game ever, or was it
Rutgers.
Rutgers and Princeton.
Princeton,
It
Rutgers.
was the first football game ever.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't know Rutgers was that old.
So you go to Ryder. Did you have any other comedians with you?
No.
You were the only one there?
Yeah.
Anyone else in the class, or how does that work in like you were there to study
Communications. The agreement was that I would get a degree.
Yeah.
And I think it was smart because I meet a lot of comedians that don't know how to like make a phone call. You know what I mean? Like it was a good deal, and I just dove into the theater. I was just in all the plays, and I just took up. I did all my athletic stuff went into theater, so I was just going balls out, getting the leads in the plays, and doing whatever I could. And then as soon as that I graduated, I went to New York, or I lived in Jersey with my girlfriend during this game, and then moved closer to the city, and then started doing open mics and stuff, and then that was it. On June 12th, 1993 was my first stand-up spot. Yeah.
Wow.
93.
That's fucking awesome.
That's
You
30.
You get up, you're done with school,
Yeah.
got some good parts, got some experience, got to meet some good people, honed down some skills. All right. I'm
Yeah.
going to New York City. Let's fucking try it out.
Let's go do it. Let's go do it. Yeah. And
I mean, that's you got to have some faith in yourself. Like anyone that has a good story, I mean, I've been blessed and fortunate enough to meet so many different people in so many different fields.
yeah.
And it's about taking that shot,
Yeah.
and believing in yourself. That is the common thing that goes into all the stories.
Yeah.
And they're in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always good to hear that,
But like looking back and you tell the story, it's like, it seems like, okay, and then I went for it. But it just, once the idea gets in your brain, you're just like, it's just you.
Yeah.
You don't even think of it like, right? Like, I'm making $5 a night doing stand-up in the beginning. I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like now, this version, thinking back on that, is like, how did you survive?
Yeah, it puts you in perspective, for sure. Just because you know what it took to get to where you're at.
Yeah.
All those little things.
Yeah, but it's almost like you can't stop it. Like, you were that. You had to be that.
Yeah, and I'm very thankful because a lot of people, like, my passion just so happened to, like, go with my talent.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people have a passion for something, but
Yeah.
they're not necessarily in that. It's not in their talent field or they're talented at something, but they don't love it. And that's the tough. That's tough.
Yeah. They never find it. They never cross
find
paths
it.
with
And
it.
you're on a search for something.
Yeah.
So
at what age were you like, oh, I'm just not going to give this up?
I was in a different situation where I was always like having to prove myself.
Uh-huh.
Like, I always thought I was the best dude on the field, and I literally thought that anytime I stepped on a field. But, like, it was always, there's this guy, and then you're not that big.
Right.
And I always ball out. There's always an excuse for why there was someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, so it kind of manipulated my mind not to think of, like, the future. I was, like, always so focused on, like, fuck that.
Getting
you're
that,
always
yeah.
working at what was on your plate. And
Uh-huh.
every step of the way, there was something like that. I wasn't good enough to play college quarterback. Didn't have a position in the pros. So there's always something that, like, tricked my mind into, like, competition mode.
Yeah.
Where you thought about it, but it gave you a direction to go.
Right. Just knocking them out as you go along.
Trying.
Yeah.
You get knocked out a lot more than you knock them out. No. You're out in New York. You're fresh out of college.
Mm-hmm.
And you're hitting these clubs. Life is great. Probably dating, New York, 90s, probably crazy, fun. When did you first have, like, your first break or like where someone saw you or you met a friend or you're in a comedy club with someone and they, like, there's always that one thing.
Yeah.
Where, like, that's when you started really making it.
Yeah. It's I always say that my biggest break was when I met Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yeah. He came into the clubs after his show was done, and there was this 2-night period where I was on stage when he came to check. He came back and he was just checking out the scene before he went up again.
Yeah.
He was just checking out the club and seeing what it was all about. And I was on stage 2 nights in a row. I saw him walk in while I was on stage. You could see through the window at Stand Up New York in the Upper West Side, and I saw him come in. And like the second night, I threw new stuff to show him that I had other stuff.
Yeah.
And I came off and he's like, "You're really funny." I was like, "Ha ha ha ha." And we just started a conversation at the bar, and I grabbed onto his coattails and didn't let go. And when he was so huge at that moment, and him giving me his endorsement just made everybody else, oh yeah, let's take another look at Tom.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was like trying to break into late night. I had some little stuff, but I was like hadn't really broken through. And the validation I got from other people from his endorsement, and also then he took me on tour with him. I just soaked it in like a sponge. He worked the way that I worked. He wasn't a comedian that was just getting high and drinking. I wrote all the time. I was really dedicated to like this craft of it. But it wasn't until I met him that it validated that my way of working was a way to work. Yeah. So I learned how to carry yourself as a comedian, as a man, I just got so much from him that was really the biggest break.
What makes Seinfeld so special? What are some of the things that he may have taught you as a lesson, or some of the things you just picked up? Like, because you said you prepare like him.
Yeah.
Like, what are me being around Tom Brady?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I learned on how to take care, like without him saying shit. Just
Right.
if you're fortunate enough to be around someone who's succeeding in your field, you could just pick things up. And I would take like how he would take care of his body, compartmentalizing like life and profession. Like there were little things what were some things you learned from Seinfeld, or what made him special?
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, they're not there. They're not trying to teach you. Yeah. But if you want to learn, you just hang around these guys and you really start picking it all up. Like
if they allow you to hang around, they're teaching you. That's kind of how it is.
Yeah, good point.
That's what that's how I.
Yeah.
When like a stud.
Yeah.
Because I always hung around the studs of the team. Or other players when there's like training areas in the off season, and I'd see where Larry Fitzgerald was. I wanted to be around him. I want to see what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, exactly. Larry Fitzgerald, I have a funny quick story.
Yeah, what do you got?
I got to play in the All-Star game for Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
They do the celebrity and old timers, I guess.
Yeah.
So I got to play on the softball team, and I had this TV show at the time, and I got to do it, and we played in Arizona. And I'm in the outfield, and I'm freaking out. I don't really play baseball, but I'm in my little uniform that Bernie Williams' locker was next to mine, and I'm all like freaked out. And Fitzgerald gets up and smacks one right to me, and I come running in, and I catch it, and I'm like so excited, and the whole place boos me because it's his hometown. I'm like, yes, boo.
Seeing that ball come off a bat when you haven't seen it in a while and having to judge it, little thing, you're probably I got it.
I did it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that's a great way to put it, though, if they let you hang around. It really is. So I learned, the biggest thing was that I learned that comedy is this, you're funny, and it's kind of like this wild bull. It's like, what is this thing? Like, you just kind of like get up, and people do it in a lot of different ways. And the thing I learned from him was that, no, this is a craft, and you can get better at it, but you got to work your ass off to get better at it. And you got to really dedicate the time and put it in and write all the time and get up on stage all the time and go back to work. And we're not here to hang out and chase girls and get drunk. We're here to get good. So this is all about writing, dedicating yourself to this craft, and that if you take care of that craft, it's going to take care of you. And that was the biggest lesson. Like, because I did write that way, but it was kind of like scattershot. I would write and then not write and then just see what happens on stage. And once I kind of got that from him and saw like what little changes, I mean, he was, one of the biggest stars in the world at the time. And he's sitting there like spending a whole day on changing a sentence, It was a huge lesson, and it calmed me down too, I mean, for the craft, that was the biggest thing I learned from him. But just watching him, just watching these guys, everything's calculated. Yeah. Everything is they're trying to get control of every aspect of their life, the way they treat their family, when you go home, how much you mess around during the day, it was all that little stuff, how you treat people, all of it. I just took it all in.
Professional.
Yeah.
A pro's pro.
A pro's pro. 100%. 100%.
That's honestly, I remember I went in the locker room one time, and I remember my agent said, don't be heard, be seen. Mm-hmm. Don't be heard, just be seen, and just try to collect as much as you can from the guys that are in there the longest.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way, and especially nowadays. I don't know how young comics are, but young athletes, it's a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
They've had 1 million followers since they were 15 years old, and they did a backflip in the end zone. Their high school game. Yeah. And it's on social, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Guys come in naturally like they think they're something.
Yeah.
When like everyone did that in this locker room.
Right, right, exactly. And nobody recorded it.
It's kind of, and I'm sure it's like that for every older generation with the new generation. But getting back to, who are some of the younger comedians that you let hang around you, or you kind of saw and maybe you've helped.
Yeah, it's a lot. It becomes that thing where like you don't, and it's funny like when we talk about those guys weren't out to teach us. Like I wasn't really, but I was like, hey, do you want to open for me? And just taking them around. And then there's this guy Stavros Halkias. You know Stavros?
Yeah.
You love Stavros?
We love Stavi.
Yeah.
We just watched it.
He opened for me. I was one of the first guys to take him on the road. I just found him at this little Maryland club. I was just doing clubs at the time, and they sent me a tape, a YouTube link or whatever to check out this chubby little guy from Baltimore. And I took him under my wing, and he just did my radio show yesterday.
Awesome.
And he was talking about how much I helped him, during that time. And it's so funny because I just loved him. I just thought he was funny. I met my family, spent Father's Day with me and my dad once, and he was just a super talented guy who I like to be around. And in my mind, he went from opening for me, and then I don't know, 3 years later, he's on Netflix. And he's like, dude, that was 12 years ago. Like he quietly was hammering and doing all the stuff he had to do. Some of it based off of, me helping him out and showing him stuff. And so Stavros is like the one I'm proud of right now.
The Young Bucks. That's awesome. I mean, I was an asshole in the locker room, but if I saw a kid that was really trying, really working his ass off, I was, I had to help him out.
Yeah.
Because I remember being that kid.
Yeah.
And I needed that. And there's guys that, looked out for me. And there's guys that were assholes to me.
Yeah.
But I was more of an I made you accountable asshole, and if you were a fucking slapdick and you thought your shit didn't stink in the fucking room, I was going to tell you, all right, dude, we won before you. We don't need you,
Right.
Yeah. So, that's one thing that you can always, you retire and your guys' field is so much longer. You guys can do it for so long, but the one thing, even when you guys put it down, is that what you gave back to the game or the community or that knowledge lives forever.
Yeah.
The things that you learn and maybe it helps a younger guy and he, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like your dignity to for me it's the game, for you it's the art of being, comic.
Yeah, I mean, we're all part of this whole like lineage. It's the whole thing is like you're saying, like the whole game, like elevating, like it's all becoming. We're all just parts of this ongoing story.
Yeah.
And it's cool if you do things right, then people still want to hear about you.
Yeah.
As you are like at a different stage. Your thing is so insane though because it's shorter, but it's so big. It's so if you're as successful as you were, it's such this massive.
Yeah, but you don't get to enjoy it. I didn't get to enjoy it as much.
No,
just because you're so in it.
You're working so hard.
Yeah, you're always having to get better and reinvent yourself, and after you win, then it gets even harder. And every time you win, you just become a bigger and bigger target. There's more and more film of you, so you have to constantly change your game and counter things and evolve yourself with the clock of your athleticism dying. Speaking of clock, let's turn back the clock, and we got a segment where we go back to January 27th, 1991, around the game. The number one movie, we talk pulp culture, Home Alone.
Yeah, that held up.
I mean, it still holds up to this day.
Yeah.
My kid loves it. Macaulay Culkin just got a star I saw recently.
Yeah. With Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah.
It was cool seeing them together. Yeah, that's my daughter's favorite Christmas movie.
We were talking backstage here before this. I thought it was a little bit weird it's still number one movie in America and we're in January here.
That it was number one for that
a month
long.
After Christmas, you know what I mean? Because I always think of it as a Christmas movie.
Right. When did it come out? That's a good question.
It came out November 16th, so it had a nice little run. $18 million budget, made $478 million.
Whoa.
You big horses' asses. That was the only. I was young, so when I heard a kid say ass, I was like, hell yeah.
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. I mean, Marv. Well, that was awesome. Kindergarten Cop came out around this time. I mean, I loved that movie.
We were just talking about that with Lily the other night.
I know. My daughter was talking about Kindergarten Cop. We saw a picture of Arnold. She goes, oh, he's a police guy in that movie. And a teacher. Dancing with the Wolves is basically Avatar.
Yeah, yeah.
Avatar in the 80s or the 90s.
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
And then The Godfather 3.
Ooh, yeah. Controversy.
Is it good? Is it not?
It's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
The Gulf War started. That's always nice. I mean,
I remember my buddy from college. Actually, the kid who had the season tickets to the Giants, who I watched this game with, my buddy Chris, he made me go to dinner with him. And he was telling me, now Chris is fat and loud and not the brightest guy. And he took me to dinner to tell me that if they ask him, he's going to go fight in the Gulf War. No military background. You can knock him over with a feather.
were you guys thinking draft coming maybe?
I wasn't. He had some fantasy, and he was ready to go. And I was like, I admired his patriotism, but I was like, I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah, dude. I'm eating fucking lobster tail.
Right? Yeah.
Glass of wine. Let's go back into the sports world. Baseball Hall of Famer, non-Hall of Famer, Pete Rose.
Wow.
He got banned.
Yeah.
He got banned. What's your
Man.
thoughts on that? I love Pete Rose.
I love Pete Rose, too. God, he's so dominant.
What was he thinking?
I don't know. You know what?
Is he bored? Was he bored? Like, what do you have? Because he Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah, that's a sad one because he was such a fucking tenacious, just man out there. I mean, who fucking steals home and blows up a catcher in an All-Star game?
Charlie Hustle, baby.
Charlie Hustle. NFL MVP Joe Montana. That was my guy. I had a dog named Montana.
You did?
2 dogs, Dwight and Montana.
Wow. He was dominant.
I mean, you probably hated him, though.
I saw LT take him out.
Yeah, he broke his back.
I was at that game. It was in Giant Stadium. It was like the first
Was
game.
it LT or was it someone else?
Wasn't it LT?
I think it was who's the other linebacker?
Carson?
Carl Banks. Was it Banks?
I think it was Banks.
I thought LT took him out.
Someone broke his back, but he got folded.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like the downfall of what.
Oh, maybe I'm confusing LT with Theismann.
He did break Theismann's leg.
He broke everybody.
Yeah.
He was on cocaine.
Note to self: do not do drugs.
Yeah.
You ever see the Waterboy?
Yeah.
When Bobby Boucher comes to talk at LT's camp and he can't talk, and he goes, "And that's why you don't do drugs." And it's coming from LT, who's notoriously known for what he's notoriously known for.
Yeah. Mountains of cocaine.
And the Reds sweep the A's in the World Series. Man, the A's.
Yeah.
See you guy. Oakland, you got a bad ticket.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, here we come.
I
Are
know.
they gonna change the colors?
Oh man, yeah, silver and black would be tough.
Yeah. Mowing down some casinos to build the stadium.
That's gonna be cool.
It would be cool.
I mean, it's good. Honestly,
I mean-
baseball in Vegas is gonna be fucking awesome.
yeah.
3 hours, you're probably gonna have a slot
know.
machine at your fucking seat.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean-
you can play Keno on the big board.
Yeah. Bingo. We got it all. Oh.
Yeah.
Now, what was life like for you, 91? You said
So
you were,
91. I'm
You said you were still in college.
Yeah, I'm just leaving college. I'm living with my girlfriend who's still in college. So we went a little north. We picked a place. I was working in northern New Jersey doing advertising, and she was still going to school. So we got this little place, this little tiny place, and we lived together there. And yeah, I wasn't, I think I was still acting. I think I went back to school to act in something. I did another play, and I was just kind of floundering. I didn't really know what I was up to, and I knew I wanted to be a comedian, but I had no idea
How?
I never met one. I'd never been to a comedy club.
You couldn't Google it.
You couldn't Google it, right? You couldn't YouTube it.
I mean, you
couldn't
can find anything now. I mean, back in those
nothing.
days, you had to
Yeah.
Yellow books?
Yeah. Yeah, insane. So I'm just kind of knocking around, smoking weed and living with my girlfriend.
That's
And,
awesome.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after this quick break. Games with Names is brought to you by my friends at WinBet. WinBet is bringing the excitement of Wynn Las Vegas and Encore Boston Harbor to online sports betting. Whether you're a recreational player or some serious handicapper, WinBet is your ticket to every exciting wager. From straight bets to parlays, teasers, and any prop bet you can dream up. All players have access to Win rewards and can redeem them for resort credits in Las Vegas and Boston. Sign up today and get in the game online or visit Boston Sportsbook at Encore Boston Harbor. There's no better way to enjoy sports with a little extra winnings in your pocket. Betting is a team sport. Join the WinBet team and bet with the best.
Must be 21 or older and present in the state where play through WinBet is available. Terms and conditions at winbet.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
1-800-522-4700. Let Jack, why don't we set the stage and jump into the game?
Heck yeah. We talked earlier about what a wagon these two teams were. 13-3 versus 13-3 respectively.
Well,
The Bills, starting off with the Bills, we got Bruce Smith on the defense, one defensive player of the year this year. Set the franchise record with 19 sacks.
Go Hokies.
But, fellow Hokie like Kyler. League's best offense as well, so, I mean, they had it getting it done on both sides of the ball. 8-0 at home, couldn't be beat up in Buffalo.
Wow.
Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, James Lofton. I mean, it was a star-studded cast that was
It kind of sounds
favored
like
to win the Super Bowl.
It sounds like the Buffalo Bills of 2 years ago when they lost to the Chiefs, because they had their defense was like a top 10 defense.
yeah.
That's when Dayball was still there, and they were lighting it up.
Couldn't beat them at home.
Largest margin of victory of any team in the NFL this season. So, I mean, they were the odds-on favorite here.
Yeah.
You ever perform in Buffalo?
Yeah. Once.
What are your thoughts on the city?
I didn't go back.
That says it all. Western New
I
York.
like Buffalo.
It is good. They're good people up there. I was just in Syracuse, which is similar.
Yeah.
And, they don't see the sun for like 9 months.
No, but they're still happy.
Yeah.
They're not like they're more Midwest people to me than they are East Coast.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's because we used to have a lot of at Kent State. A lot of kids from Buffalo, Western New York would come to Kent State, and like it's like these people are from like the Midwest. It's completely different.
Yeah. Any place where the weather's that bad for that long, like you have to be good people. Yeah. you do. You legit do. Like people in Minnesota, Wisconsin, is like some of the greatest people you'll meet.
I would say lake cold people. You get on them coasts.
Yeah.
Those cold people are pretty cold.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the lake effect.
You get the lake effect.
Yeah, this was a stacked team.
It was wild.
Dangerous.
Did it you think two New York teams in a Super Bowl? Did it feel like a rivalry
thing?
or not? Like
Was that a thing
that's
then?
what I'm.
Not really. It didn't. No, that's not New York. Not my New York.
I like that answer.
Yeah. That's
No, because I was like, oh man, two New York teams. Like,
Well,
but I
some would
didn't-
say
yeah.
it's only one New York team.
I would agree.
right. And one Jersey team. I was trying to get that going, but never caught on.
Never.
Never.
Let's see what the Giants are looking like.
The Giants 7 Pro Bowlers. We lost Phil Simms in Week 15.
We talk about the 14-2 Niners. They were 13-3.
I know, but everyone was,
Christ, it was
making the
good.
Niners out to be like way better. Lost Phil Simms in Week 15 against the Bills. That's when Hostetler comes in and rights the ship. Bill Belichick running the defense. Tom Coughlin coaching the receivers. Both these guys would leave after the season. Fewest points allowed in the NFL. And, I mean, you might as well – you can talk all the names, all the Pro Bowlers, but it's LT's team.
LT.
Man, oh, man. LT's team, but Otis Anderson was a beast. Bavaro,
Bavaro.
Oh my God, just money.
I mean, these guys
I did a
were-
show. I used to do Inside the NFL with Phil Simms.
Oh yeah,
I call him Mr. Simms.
yeah,
Yeah, he's a firecracker.
yeah,
He's a great dude. Some of those stories that he would
Yeah.
tell about LT.
man.
were insane.
Yeah.
This
Yeah. What was he like in the locker room? What was
Who, LT?
LT? How you getting ready next to that guy?
I heard a story. I won't tell my source, but I guess LT had like a snake, or he had something in his locker, and he had like 4 watches, and he had a stack of all his checks that weren't cashed yet.
Oh, really?
And it was like it was like a season and a half. It was probably like a $500,000 of checks that he hadn't cashed yet.
Oh my God.
That was LT. Like,
God.
he's just a funny guy.
Yeah.
And of course, this was Bill Parcells. I mean, I totally buried the lead there. And even Tom's story also made me think of another Jersey high school football coach that was on this staff, a young Charlie Weiss.
Young Charlie Weiss.
He was a defensive assistant on this staff, or just a coaching assistant, I should say.
Wow.
Was he?
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Charlie Weiss. There's an office in our facility called Charlie's office because it was his.
Heck yeah.
He left. It was still Charlie's office.
Love that.
The Giants used to stay at the Woodcliff Lake Hilton on their home games.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want everybody to stay at home, right? So you stay in the local hotel. And the Woodcliff Lake Hilton, it's where I worked as a busboy. And my girlfriend did room service. And she was a tiny little thing. She was like, 5'4". We were in high school.
Yeah.
And she did room service. And she went to Pepper Johnson's room to drop off a tray. And he kind of made a pass at her. He is, I think, 7 times her size. He wasn't aggressive in any way. It wasn't anything like really. But he just he got a little flirty with her. And she was just like, oh, I was just hit on by a mountain.
Old Coach Pep. Pep coached me for a couple years.
He did?
Yeah, he was with us in New England. Yeah.
Pepper Johnson, 6'3", 250, man.
Yeah. Rachel was 5'4", 98 pounds.
Well, it's time for the Bounty Wingman question.
Let's do it.
Bounty is everyone's favorite wingman because you can't have football without wings, and you can't have wings without Bounty. So this is our segment where, because there's always such a mess when you're eating wings, you have a nice Bounty paper towel.
Nice.
We chew on a wing. I ask you a question, and even though we're on this beautiful suede couch, we don't worry. Because we have Bounty paper towels.
All right. You haven't eaten with me.
Yeah. So we all know Bounty helps clean up the messiest moments. So what's your messiest moment on stage?
One time when I was starting out, I was working a club in New Jersey. That's a good wing. And somebody threw a French fry at me, and it had ketchup on it. And I was a young comic. I wasn't doing that great to begin with. And someone hit me with a French fry. And I looked down, and because it had ketchup on it, it just slowly, it stuck to me and slowly went down my shirt. And there's no one funny enough to come back from that. You just have to leave the stage.
Don't you wish you had a Bounty paper towel?
Oh, my God. It's funny you say that because when it happened, that's what I was thinking.
Were you? What color shirt?
White.
White?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was pretty embarrassing.
Bounty and Wings, my favorite duo. And that was the Bounty Wingman question. Jack, what about... We set the stage for this game.
All right, this was a rematch of the Week 15 game, which the Bills won, knocked out Phil Simms. So that was late in the season.
Knocked him out.
Phil rest of the season. Hated to see it. Hostetler comes in and leads the way after that. Buffalo's path to the Super Bowl beat Miami in a shootout against Dan Marino up in the snow over there in Western New York. Then they rolled the Raiders, put up 95 total points in those 2 games. So the offense was just clicking, firing on all cylinders. The Giants had to beat Chicago, and then, as we alluded to earlier, went out to San Francisco, Candlestick, and beat Jules' Niners.
They got that San Francisco treat.
That fumble, man. That darn fumble. Giants leaned on their power offense. Bill Parcells always preached a tough defense and a ball control power offense that could run the ball. I mean, the possession in these games was just insane.
Yeah.
As we'll see in this one, it's setting the Super Bowl record, 40 minutes of possession. It was great offense versus great defense, and it was the first Super Bowl appearance for the Bills. And spoiler alert, it only got worse, appearance by appearance.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing research when we were watching this game, and it reminded me of every Super Bowl I was in.
Really?
I mean, to a T. Let's try to control the clock.
Right.
Let's try to have possessions. Now, some of them, that was like our game plan going into them. Some of them, we played Atlanta and we're down 28-3.
Yeah.
That kind of game plan goes out the door. But,
Right.
That was kind of like the blueprint.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they executed to a T because with an explosive offense like Buffalo, like the only way, I mean, they're the number one offense in the league. The only way you stop them is you keep them off the goddamn fucking field.
Right. Just
You know
eat
what
up
I mean?
the clock.
Eat up the clock, but you need to play situationally great for that to happen because you got to do well on third downs to extend drives. You got to
Right.
do well in the red area, come away with points.
Yeah.
And it was almost, if you look at the game, the deciding factor. If you look at the Giants, they bend because you see all the points that the Bills got in the first half. They had four field goals. That's red area offense. That's the game right there. That's why they lost.
I mean, when you have that running game, you can just, and it gets stronger as the game goes on.
Demoralizes a team too.
Yeah.
When you run the ball down their throat.
Yeah.
Demoralizes. I'm on offense, and if we're getting ran on,
Yeah.
pisses us off.
Right.
Because it gets you out of your rhythm. You want to
Right.
get out there, and you got a fucking 15, 20-minute drive.
Yeah. God.
That's tough. I mean, it's really
Getting cold on the side.
It's insane. And then we were watching before this. Bill was saying, like you probably heard a million times in Super Bowls, he was going to let Thurman Thomas do what Thurman Thomas was going to do, but they're going to take away anything deep down the field, play that cover 2, bring the safeties up, and you got to go across the middle and fight LT. And you can take a little 4-yard catch, but you're going to take a pounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would dare you to catch it over the middle when you could actually kill people.
Yeah.
No, literally, I think I saw a knife pulled out one.
I mean,
Well, we saw the clip with Hostel
Oh
where
my
he gets
God.
like buried into the ground and he has smelling salts to like
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, and they threw me back in there.
didn't even miss a series.
Yeah.
His
It's
head
like
is
a
just buried into the
scarecrow.
turf.
So there's no New York rivalry. This like
It
the
didn't
New Yorkers,
feel like New York, no.
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 no sub-series, none of
No,
that.
They're like the Raiders. Yeah, upstate's very different from New York City. It's
What
just
about,
really different?
What's your thoughts of Tampa Bay? This was in Tampa Bay.
Second Super Bowl ever in Tampa. So
In Tampa, yeah. No feeling at all.
Yeah.
I'm even trying. Yeah, there's
Have you
like
ever performed down there?
no response. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a weird place. It's one of those like Tampa, Orlando.
What's the game day smorgasbord for a Super Bowl while you're watching this?
When I'm watching this, definitely.
Do you remember? Like, just
definitely, we were deep into wings.
Yeah.
Tons and tons of wings. That's wings and pizza and beer. That was it. There was not maybe a bag of chips. That was as fancy as we got.
What's the chip?
Back then it was probably Ruffles, Ridges.
Okay.
maybe some supermarket onion dip.
Yeah.
yeah,
Now you're sitting there in the first half, and before the drive before half where the Giants score,
Yeah.
like you guys are getting
There's
outplayed, kind of.
12-3. It's
So
tough.
you're sitting there dipping your chip, you're ruffling in the dip,
Uh-huh.
and you're like, are you stressed at this point going in?
Yeah.
Before that last drive into half.
100%. There's nothing about this day that ever lets you off the hook and makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It's always nerve-wracking. It's always in the first, and there was also, going back and watching it, there was that when a team breaks start happening, you think like the mojo's going their
Yeah.
way. There was a couple like tip balls and things that were just. It seemed like this was going to be Buffalo's night.
Yeah.
It just seems like we're not getting any of the magic.
Then you're sitting in the back of your head, you're sitting there, it's our backup quarterback.
Oh, yeah. We don't even deserve to be here. We're used to there's no way Hostetler's going to do it. And these guys, Kelly and Thomas, is just like.
Thomas was just. But I mean, we watched an interview, and Belichick was saying that they were going to let them run the ball. That we didn't want them to throw the ball, which he's basically saying we're going to challenge them to have to put together these big drives and execute in the red area.
Right.
So they were cool with that, I think.
Man, nerve-wracking. But like There's also, though, when you watch Norwood,
Yeah.
his first field goal kind of shanks. He makes it, but it kind of squibs to the right. It's not like, looking back, you can see like there was not a lot of something was up.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy was not, and he was 1 for like 5 over 40 yards or 45 yards.
Tom, you're on the money, man.
Right?
1 for 5 on field goal attempts of 40 or more yards
40.
on grass fields.
40 yards.
40 or more.
So, like, I did not feel that during the day.
Yeah.
I was not like confident. But looking back, like that first kick is like, ooh.
Overcompensate that next one.
Yeah.
That's one of those ones where you sneaked it by,
Uh-huh.
and then you're like, oh, and then right before the next one, you're like, I can't do that mechanic. It's kind of like that golf shot.
Right.
Oh,
Trying to replicate it.
Norwood was not like a great kicker by any means. So like, I know hindsight's 2020 here, and everyone gives him the rap of being the GOAT. But I mean, he was 20 for 29 on the year, 69% ratio. So,
how about those? Screw how good they were. How cool were their face masks?
Oh, bring back the single
both,
bar.
Both kickers.
Bring
had
back the single bar. We
Single
need it.
bar down low. So you can see their whole face when they miss.
Now I got a real serious question. It was the Whitney Houston national anthem, the best national anthem in the history of national anthems.
Of all time.
It was insane.
No one comes close. And
Marvin Gaye had a good one over at
Marvin and Houston at the
in
All-Star
Houston
game.
At the All-Star game was cool because he had a cool like beat with it and
Oh
shit.
my god, yeah,
Yeah.
he made it groovy.
But this was stunning.
But this was also, we're going to war.
yeah,
We were going to war, and we didn't know what that meant. And even though my buddy Chris, who's there eating wings with me, was ready to enlist, it was heightened.
Yeah.
And she was so beautiful, so on top of her game. She nailed it.
nailed it.
Those, what do they call those?
Jets?
Yeah.
Airplanes?
But it was those, it was like the new,
F-20.
yeah, the ones that couldn't be detected by radar.
Oh, stealth bombers.
Stealth bombers. We hadn't seen that before. We're like, what is happening right now?
Do you think that was the government kind of flexing over? Like, if anyone's watching the Super Bowl, we got these cool new black things.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we're getting ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, 100%.
We ain't never seen. Is that the first time we see the black bombers?
I think so.
I think so. Let me double check here.
We're like, what is that? It's the Death Star.
That's crazy,
And she was so, oh my God, she was so beautiful and just killed it.
man. So at halftime,
New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block were there.
I don't remember that. I must have been doing bong hits during that.
So at halftime, the Giants did the last shot kind of situation.
Got
They
it.
get that touchdown.
Got it down to a one-score game.
One
cut
score
it from
game
12 to 3.
And then they open up the drive with a 10-minute drive, suck off 10 minutes of the third quarter.
Huge.
Score a touchdown,
Go up 17-12.
17-12.
Take up, I mean, as you said, eat up almost 11 minutes a clock. Then Buffalo comes out, has a big drive to start the fourth. They get up 19-17. We come down, kick a field goal, go up 20-19.
How much
7
time?
minutes left.
7.
So we got time to work with. At this point, Tom, are you like, because I'm like a pessimistic fan,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like, oh, too much time, we're done. Where do you stand on that
Yeah,
one?
you're just waiting. You're like, they're going to kill us. How are they going to do it? And are we going to do it to ourselves? It's just the knee-jerk reaction.
That's a Boston, New York fan
yeah.
And
collab
so
right there.
Right? Just a
Yeah,
pessimist.
same way.
let's fast. It gets down all the way to this last kick. Walk us through step for step if you remember how this.
I
thing went.
remember that they had this impressive drive, and Kelly, a force. They started pretty deep, I believe,
Yeah, I believe it started on their 9-yard line.
and they put together this drive, and I don't remember exactly what the last play putting them in position for the kick,
A Thurman Thomas run got him down to about the 30, and then they had to spike it.
and then they had to spike it.
Yep.
So how much time was on when they started the drive?
When they started the drive, there were... So we had a couple of 3-and-outs here. So there were 2 minutes, 16 seconds
Yeah.
from their own 10.
2:16.
2:16, and it doesn't feel like today's 2:16. Like the clock got eaten up, right? Much more quickly.
Wasn't as explosive of a game.
Right. Yeah, you have to play old school football, and it eats up clock.
It was just, yeah. That all started like 5 years ago with Patrick Mahomes and Allen.
Right.
Where, 7 seconds was too much.
That's crazy.
I mean, this is when you could actually hit people.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a huge point.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. So that's a 2-minute drive, but they get all the way down. And, man, I remember the players, like, praying. They just, like, huddled. Like, the Giants were just, like, on the sideline, like, hugging each other. Just nobody could look. And in Somerville, New Jersey, in a shitty one-bedroom apartment, no one was in their seat. We were just lying on the ground, holding each other, not looking. I mean, just so insane. And we're going to lose. Like, there's no part of you that thinks he's going to miss it.
Yeah.
There's no part. You're just like, oh, they're making this so damn painful. Like, he's just going to hit it. And then it goes up and just, oh.
When did you see it? Right away?
Oh, right away. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick. It wasn't like that much. I mean, it really.
Yeah. It was wide right.
It was really wide right.
Just a tad outside.
How? I mean, there's nothing more upsetting to watch than a kicker that blow it like that.
That's sad. I feel bad for the kicker,
Yeah.
just because, I've been around the guys.
Yeah.
And, they're usually in their own little world.
Uh-huh.
Some guys don't accept them as a football player. They know that.
Yep.
They know that people think they only have one fucking job. So it's kind of like one of those things where you can't get mad at the guy who works his ass off.
Yeah.
The operation. It's crazy. The aftermath of this game
Oh.
and that kick, where it goes, the butterfly effect, 4 straight for Buffalo, which is completely different than what the Giants do. And they win their second Super Bowl in the franchise history. I mean, that was a spiral. That could have been it.
Now, let me ask you this. Personnel changes. Why do teams remain the teams? Like, why? You know what I mean? Like,
Example.
The Patriots are the Patriots. I mean, you have eras where you're killing it, but there's still something in the DNA of a team. Everyone's gone. Coaches have changed. Is it the building? Is it just what is it that still makes the Patriots the Patriots?
Well, they're not that right now.
Yeah, I know they're not. I mean, they're
Tom
struggling
Brady
now, but
you got Tom Brady and Belichick had a template, and he had the law, and Tom went out, and the best players on the team would enforce the law.
right.
There was a good nucleus of guys, and then when that first team kind of got out, then there was different guys that kind of went into that area,
Right.
But the two constants were Tom and Bill,
Right.
and
Right.
there's a whole lot of debate going on right about now about all that right now,
Right.
but I think a lot of it was both.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, up until the Giants would have winning years, and then they would just suck, and then
It's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
A lot of expectation, a lot of distraction. The media in New York is very tough. I mean, we all know. So it's hard.
yeah,
It's not easy to win this league, and it's a quarterback league. And I mean, this is a time where Buffalo had a really good quarterback, and the Giants did too, and he gets hurt, and they found a way.
yeah,
And that's what depth, good defense, good situational football can do for a team. Mm-hmm. It was cool to see two different styles.
yeah,
Because you had it was almost, the high flyer Buffalo Bills against the dirty, nasty New York Giants.
yeah. What
In a
we're
good
gonna,
way.
We know it. You know what we're gonna run.
Yeah.
And
we
try
know
and
we're
stop
going to
us.
run. And yeah.
The Bills still haven't won a Super Bowl.
Crazy.
So if you're a team now, when they're having a rough year this year, but
Yeah.
recently they've been contending, and does the history play into it? Kind of like the Red Sox or the Cubs, like the curse, kind of like you hear in the media constantly, like there's something going on, like.
Well, for me, I wasn't a part of the first 3 Super Bowls or the undefeated season. I was in the second group of 3.
Right.
So it was
God.
it was they were different generations. So
Right.
we always had to hear about Teddy Bruschi, Willie McGinnis, fucking Kevin Falk, Troy Brown, and how these guys made the plays. And you go out and win a Super Bowl and you're still hearing it. Well, these guys did it 2, 3, so then you get competitive with it.
Right.
And you want it to be, so I don't know. It could steer you different ways. And, yeah, you do think about history.
It is in your head, though.
But, it was in our head. It was in my head.
Yeah.
I can't speak for everyone.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for me, that motivated me. I wanted to be like them.
Right.
I was sick of hearing about them. I wanted them to hear about us.
Yeah.
Because they were the first to do it.
Yeah.
And it was, it's hard when everyone knows about you.
Right.
Everyone knows about us because of them. So everyone hated us.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But, Parcells went on to retire after this year.
His first retirement, that was a big fallout.
Oh.
And then Bill leaving, going to take the Browns head coaching job, another cursed franchise. And then Tom Coughlin took over BC as a head coach. So those were kind of the big departures, brain drain from the Giants coaching staff.
Well, Belichick goes to the Browns.
Do you secretly wish Belichick comes back to the Giants?
Yeah. I mean, I never hated on the Patriots.
Yeah.
It was very much because of him, and also took some of the staff also.
Yeah.
Crennel.
RC.
Yeah, and I love those guys.
Yeah.
So you knew that discipline, that kind of like, we always carried it like as Giant fans, like we were old school, disciplined, real, like legit football.
Yeah.
That it was up in New England. I admired it. I couldn't hate on it.
You could always tell when we were in New York playing against the Giants. He loved the Giants.
Yeah.
You could just tell. I mean, it was a
Yeah.
huge part of his start.
Yeah.
How he talked about those teams, how he talked about LT, Pepper Johnson, Phil
Right.
Simms, and the stories of all those guys.
Yeah.
He loved the Giants.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. They have kind of similar DNA, I guess, because of those guys.
Is this 91 defense one of the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time, or one of the great? Everyone throws the 85 Bears. No, they don't really get the cred, really, if you think about it.
Who, the Giants?
Giants, 91
Yeah.
defense here.
Yeah, I mean, you just asking that question, best of all time, is like, never even thought of them in that term. Carson was gone, I think. It was Banks and LT.
Yep, and Pep.
Yep, and Steve Diassi.
Yeah.
I think
don't
you gotta
know.
man. If LT's on your, LT automatically makes him more.
People just think he rushed the passer. That dude did everything.
He did everything.
I mean, I remember Bill would throw on. We would struggle with. There was like this trap where they do this double pull, and they still run the same damn plays.
Yeah.
And nowadays, back then,
Yeah.
and the defensive end is supposed to. You got to set the edge, but it's hard because you have two guys and they can pop through and they can get through.
Right.
So you got to really blow it up, but you can't over blow it up because they can bounce it because you're the force,
Right.
You're the edge, and if the edge is broken, then there's no help. And we were struggling with this, so he brought back this one play of LT, he blew up both the fucking pullers and tackled the guy right away.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's like, this is how you fucking do it. This guy, watch him. Everyone just thinks, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll just be LT.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Oh my God.
Now, would you rather lose 3 Super Bowls in a row or not make it to a Super Bowl?
Not make it.
I don't know. I think I got to lose 3.
You do?
Yeah. 'cause-
Well, you're
Four.
You're
as a fan, not as a player.
Yeah. What about as a player?
As a player, you got to go. I want to go.
You gotta go.
Got to at least play in the show.
Yeah.
You may not win the show, but you got to go to the show.
Yeah.
See where it stacks up.
This is why you're a great athlete.
Yeah.
And
But a fan,
I
you
tell
know.
jokes about my dogs because I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt so much. Why don't we just not?
Yeah.
You just have it in you. You're just But I mean, what do you think Bills fans say?
I don't know. They're in a tough one right now.
Yeah.
Jackie, we have any leftovers?
We had a pretty clean episode, but we do have a leftover question that we love to throw out to everybody. Tom, we love great locker room stories. So we were wondering, do you have any great green room stories from touring with Seinfeld back in the heyday?
Yeah. This was a little later, and he was back playing the Beacon, and he's going to play the Beacon. I'm going to open for him, and then we're going to like Columbus, Ohio or something the next day. And the Beacon has very small, tight, it's an old building, tight dressing rooms. You got to take this little elevator up to each floor I'm there early, and I'm in the little green room, and I'm waiting for Jerry, and I figure out, well, it's been a while and I haven't seen him in a bit, so I'm just gonna not a big thing, but just play a little joke that I fell asleep. He's so late that I fell asleep. So I like loosen my tie and undo my belt, and I'm just kicked back on this couch. I hear the elevator coming up, and I'm just like, kind of like look like I'm drooling on myself. And the elevator opens up, and I hear Jerry go, "Oh." And I open my eyes. It's Jerry Seinfeld, Steve Martin, and Tom Hanks. I'm like my coach with Parcells.
Need a ride?
Right? I'm like, oh, hey, I'm just doing a bit. I'm just being funny. And they're like, hey, nice to meet you.
Oh my God.
You guys need a ride home?
Anyone? I'm going downtown. Anybody want to share a cab?
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty humiliating. I mean, Steve
I get the guy a job, and then he come in and he's sleeping.
What's the deal with bits?
Very funny, Tom. Very funny.
So let's score the game. The name of the game is Wide Right. We all know it. We used
all
to
know
have a
that
play
one.
call off of it, and we used to have a sign where we'd have the picture of it, like on our tip sheets. We'd have a tip sheet before each game, give you reminders, and we used to have a play call Wide Right, and then on the reminder tip sheet, it was the picture of the Wide Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Score the game presented by WinBet. This is a segment where we score our game and see where this specific game stands in like all our games that we've done.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's gonna be a good one. Stakes 0 to 10 decimals. Okay. Score. The stakes of this game.
Dun-dun-dun. The stakes. Can it get any higher?
Can't.
No, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever the max is.
10.
10.
10.
For all the marbles.
Yeah.
We got 10. Star power.
Oh, man.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, and both sides
What do you
have their
got, Tyler?
stars.
We're just throwing tens out for everything. There's different levels of Super Bowls, right? Like a back-to-back Super Bowl or like an undefeated season Super Bowl. You know, like it's fine. It's okay.
You're saying too
Okay.
many tens?
We've been just handing out 10. We handed out a 10 to Game 5 of an NBA Finals. Like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Well,
You're right. I mean, to his point, Hostetler, he's got to drop us a couple points. He wasn't a star. He was a...
So is that stakes or is that star power? Because there is a star power.
stakes are super high. I think stakes are a 10.
All right, star power.
Star power.
Whitney did the
Whitney,
national
though.
anthem.
Yeah.
Kuwait War.
Yeah, but she wasn't playing football.
Was she?
All right, 9.8.
Gameplay. Time-sucking giants
Yeah.
against the high flyer Buffalo Bills that couldn't score in the red area.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's kind of like when the Devils would win in the NHL.
Yeah.
Like they were just dominant, but so boring to watch.
Yeah.
You know, is this gameplay like the game plan or the entertaining part of watching it?
I would say like just the gameplay of the game.
The top play was a missed kick, by the way, too, just to put that in frame reference.
I was leaning more toward entertainment value.
Was it
Yeah.
entertaining?
It was a grind. It was upsetting. I was tense the whole time. Probably smoked way too much weed. Gameplay. Yeah, it was kind of a grindy, dirty game, right? Like a 7?
7. That's fair. That's fair. The name of the game, Wide Right. If you ask anyone Wide Right, people know this game.
Yeah, for sure.
So 1, 0 out of 10.
Wide right.
Papa, where does it go?
I would say 10 except for your producer, so I'm going to say 9.
Oh, look, Kyler.
Finally.
This is up there for all-time games with names.
This is an all-timer. Let's
this
see.
is Thriller in Manila level. Like, I love wide right. Everyone, you say it, and everyone knows it.
Everyone
knows wide right.
Where does it
It's
stack
entered the
up,
lexicon.
boys? 8.95. Now, let's see some of the games we've done with some of the people we've done. Where does it stack up?
Oh, nice.
It's up there.
We're right there in the 4th spot, right below the Yankees Red Sox 2004 ALCS. Sorry, Tom.
Oof. Was that the, yeah.
That was not
Rough
great.
one for a New Yorker.
Oh, once the mitt, the catcher's mitt went in A-Rod's face.
It was over
Yeah.
from there.
I started thinking about football.
Oh, good old Veritek.
Veritech.
The captain.
Verdugo's going to the Yanks.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
I don't like it.
Man, well, I had a blast with this, Tom.
So great.
Did we miss anything about this game?
Well, my buddy didn't have to go to war,
And
he got his victory.
pieces.
So not only was it a great game, not only was it fun to talk about, but in a way we saved his life.
In a way, you did.
No, we did.
We.
You and me.
I wasn't. I was 4.
Yeah, but I'm giving you credit.
I'll take it.
You're the best.
Do you have anything to plug other than we got what is he just finished his stand-up tour?
Yep.
His special.
The next tour is starting to roll. Just go to Tom Papa on all things, and you'll find me. Instagram, my website, my mailbox.
That's a great name too.
Charlotte, January 12th.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
There it is.
Come on and stand up. Take your shirt off. Twist around your head
spin
like
like
a
a
helicopter.
helicopter.
North Carolina.
This was really great.
Thank you. I appreciate you
So
coming.
cool. We have to take a picture. I got to show.
Definitely.
I got to show Matt Damon who I was hanging with.
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
You got to tell him the story about where I was randomly riding my bike in Brooklyn. And he lives there, I guess. And I saw him randomly like, "Hey, Matt, how you doing?" He's like, "Who are you?" It's Edelman. He's like, "Ah." He was the coolest. We met up a couple times. He's a sweetheart. But Affleck, on the other hand, you tell him.
Yeah. Really? You're gonna let him have it?
Nah,
I'll tell him anyway.
we got some beef. If you want to see a real Batman, come tell me. Come see me.
I'm on it.
Man, that was an awesome episode.
Tom Papa. That's my Jerry Seinfeld for you.
Yeah, I did. I got a little Seinfeld on there.
What's the deal with this guy? His name's Papa, but he's not my father. That'd be a Seinfeld bit, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Yeah, write that down. This is going in the special."
Yeah, I was confused. It said his name was Tom Papa, but he doesn't have a kid. I don't know.
What's the deal? Nah, he was awesome though. That was sick.
No, that was fun. It was good to hear his come up and to hear how he kind of used a little bit of that athlete mentality in his stand-up career.
Yeah,
You know,
what was that about? No chicks, no partying, bro. Just writing.
I mean,
Spiral notebooks. Come on, bro.
no days off, Jack.
I know.
No days
I get
off,
it.
Jack.
I'm trying to party and have fun, man, in the green room.
It'll come.
I know.
What did Seinfeld say? You gotta
Yeah.
You gotta do good at invest in the craft, and then the craft will invest and give you reward or something.
Yeah, something lame like that.
It was some type. No, it was fun, man. I can't wait to continue to watch him, and I look forward to seeing his new stand-up.
Yeah, for real. In honor of the wide right game, one of the most painful endings in sports history, especially for the folks up in Buffalo, we're going to talk about some of the most painful missed kicks or just botched field goals to end games in all of football.
All of football?
We're going to put together a little top 5. What do you think? Can we come to a consensus? You, me, and Kyler.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Starting off, the kick 6. You got the kick 6, Bama and Auburn. You got the double doink, Eagles and Bears. You got the Romo botch snap. Not even a missed field goal, just a botch snap in that playoff game against the Seahawks. And then you got, I guess we'll lump these all together. It's almost got to be one for me when you can put it like a Godfather. You got wide right 1, wide right 2, those Florida State, Miami ones. I don't know. Those are tough. We got a couple. We got.
I think Florida State, Miami. What was that? That's a rivalry game.
That's a rivalry game for
I
sure.
mean, so, but it's also It's college, man.
It's college. Where do you?
I put them on a lower scale.
Even
Those kids
kick
aren't
six?
pro kickers. Like, that's tough. That's tough for a college. Like, you know what I mean? This kid probably...
No, I know.
You're doing a halftime thing where the coach had an audition for fucking some kickoff thing, and all of a sudden they signed him, and
He
they had
scooped
the
him out of the
video
frat
of the
house,
team
yeah.
giving him a scholarship. Kid ain't... he ain't getting $2 million to kick.
What about the kick?
Maybe he is with
NIL days.
Do you remember that there's a regular season game? I think it was the Saints, maybe Jags, where there was a full-on lateral kickoff situation with no time left, and they actually had it work like an annexed section of Puerto Rico, and it actually worked.
Yeah.
And then they missed the extra point to lose the game after they scored a touchdown.
Yes, let me look that one up. It's not the Will Lutz one from 2022.
I think it was Carney.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys that sits and buries on killing the kicker after a game losing kick, because the game's not lost or won on that kick. There's about 15 to 30 other plays it came down to.
Spoken like a true teamer.
And I feel for my guys. Those, Steve Gostkowski, Nick Folk. Those are my guys. Okay.
Oh, Kyler alluded to the River City Relay.
It's got a name.
Got a name? Should we do it?
River City
2003.
Relay.
2003, the Jags were leading 20-13. The Saints used 3 laterals to score a touchdown as time expired in regulation. However, New Orleans kicker John Carney missed the ensuing extra point and would have sent the game into overtime, but instead the Jags
That's
escaped
short
with a
PAT
victory.
too.
That was pre moving it back.
That's 3-yard PAT.
Yeah, prior to making it a football play, as Bill would say. That hurts. That hurts.
River City Relay.
River City
What did you
Relay.
say? Who would say what?
Bill, because he said make it a football play, right? That's why he was the one I think that lobbied to move the extra point back.
It's good.
I think, yeah, it makes it more interesting. I think that
Wow.
was a Bill term. Make this a football play.
Let's get all right. Let's get into it.
Let's
right.
rank. Sorry.
Yeah. So wide rights. That's the last college.
I'm putting that fifth.
It's also
Yeah.
it's an
What about
early-
this wide right? Is this one in here?
Yeah, this one's in here. I think this might be number 1, honestly.
The butterfly effect.
Super Bowl. I mean,
But the kick six.
the kick 6 is wild.
Because usually a missed kick is just sadness, but the kick six, the sadness led to a great football play. So,
That was
there was
such a
good
gnarly-
football
Yeah.
in
That
that
was-
play.
I mean, that changed play calling for that situation.
1 second left.
Because
Saving-
if you think about it, and that's why they do that on those extra long ones, they put those fast guys back there because you got all linemen on there for the kickoff or for the field goal team. It's fucking travesty. You're done.
That's what I heard
That's
Chris
the
Davis
gamble.
saying the other day.
That's got to be. That's up there. That's number 2.
Let's put kick 6 is 2.
two.
We got wide right at 1. 3, I think you gotta go. Speaking of butterfly effect, the Romo botch snap. I mean, Dallas hadn't won a playoff game since.
No, they won one last year.
Yeah, they beat.
Did
the,
they?
Yeah,
They
won
beat
last
the
year.
Bucks.
Okay,
too.
pardon me.
Double doink. It's that's
Oh.
extra heartbreaking because you got your heart broken twice.
And
They did.
and the Eagles went on to win that year.
They did. Yeah, they beat the Pats, right? That year.
Yeah.
No. That was to repeat. They won the year before.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it goes 3 Romo, double dink 4.
You think Romo is more heartbreaking, or are you going?
One is the most heartbreaking.
Yeah. You think Romo is more heartbreaking than the double doink?
Yeah, dude. That's the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Okay, when you have that star on your helmet, there's a different standard. Okay, you're America's team, I guess.
I feel like I just called into Jerry's office when I signed with the Cowboys.
I mean, I am eating the fucking egg McMuffin with salt and pepper and extra ketchup on it. Isn't that what he's eating?
I think he is. He loves an egg McMuffin, bro.
Salting down an egg McMuffin. I'm like, that man likes salt.
Liberal with the salt, brother.
All right, what's the-
sodium
what's-
levels through the roof?
What's the fifth one?
5th, let's go FSU, Miami.
Wide right, 1 through 5.
5's for the boys. River City, I mean, we didn't know about it, and it's a regular season game.
Yeah, anything related to Jacksonville can only be ranked so high.
Nah, I mean, Jacksonville, I like Jacksonville.
All right, finish.
Here they go. Our final rankings, ready?
Yeah.
Wide right, number 1. Kick
Yeah.
6, number 2. Romo botch snap against the Seahawks, number 3. 4th, the double doink,
Oh,
and number 5. The
FSU.
wide right series.
Man,
Pretty good list.
That's good. I think that's
Painful.
correct.
Painful.
What do you guys think? We want to hear in the comment section below.
Blow us up.
I want to hear what you guys. I want to hear arguments. I want to hear replies. Let's see it. What an episode! Thanks again to Tom Papa for coming on. I like saying his name. It reminds me of Papa Smurf.
Me too. Tom Papa.
Tom
Reminds
Papa.
me of John Popper from the Blues Traveler.
Yeah, that's a good comic name. Good stage name.
It is.
Yeah. That's been another episode of Games with Names presented by WinBet. Remember to follow Games with Names on YouTube, Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. We'll see you guys next week. Games with Names is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.